All right, good morning, guys. It's Jarek, and today I'm going to be talking about Greg Doucette's upcoming supplement line and what I'm hoping is in his pre workout. This is kind of my pre workout wish list. I hope Greg takes one path forward that is door number one. Door number two is the other typical fitness influencer path that I hope he absolutely avoids. So, dear Coach Greg, here's what I am hoping that your pre workout will consist of. Not in its entirety, but some key ingredients that I think really make a quality product rather than just something you can peddle to, whoever's willing to listen to you, which at this point, Greg has a massive audience. So, let's get right into it talking about my priorities. So number one priority is pump. You got to have the good blood flow, you got to have nutrient delivery, increase water to the muscle, all that sort of thing. It's going to help with your recovery. It's going to help establish a mind muscle connection. You look great doing it, you enjoy working out, and that's the biggest thing, is enjoying it, doing it over and over and over again. Number two is focus. I like something that almost, not like hypnosis esque, right? But something that helps you, again, mind muscle connection and actually focusing on what you're there to do. Um, a lot of people either get too hyped up on stims or they're just out of it after a long day at work or whatever. I've been there, absolutely. And those are the days where I like to deploy a pre workout that has something focus based in it to help me, you know, get in the zone, so to speak. Number three is cost. And I think cost is there for a weird reason. It's not there because I don't want to spend the money. It's there because I think cost is a really big indicator of quality and what you're going to be getting. For pre-workouts, you get what you pay for in the biggest sense of the phrase, right? Um, so I think that's a really key factor. Number four is stimulants, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a huge fan of massive stim pre workouts. They make me feel sick. They make me feel dizzy. I don't need that much caffeine in my life. I drink plenty already. I drink a cup of coffee at work every day. I also lift in the evenings after work. So if I'm going to be, hyped up on a bunch of stimulants, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. And I'd sacrifice like 2 reps off my workout for a better quality sleep that night. You know what I mean? That's where the growth happens. That's really more important, and it lets you go just as hard the next day rather than accumulating a ton of fatigue. Generally, and last but not least, taste. Actually, last but absolutely least is taste. Let's be real here. Taste is you're not drinking a pre workout for the taste. All right, you don't pop a pre worky because you feel like you want some nice to sip on, right? Like it doesn't matter. So getting right into pump ingredients, some of my favorites. Now, I'm not saying you got to include all of these, but I'm saying these are my favorites. These are ones that I respond best to. Number one is L-citrulline or citrulline malate, or however you want to dose it. Those are two different things, right? Typically, you'll see L-citrulline plus like malic acid with it, or citrulline malate, which is the two molecules already combined. Um, this is a super well known nitric oxide booster. Again, I was talking about blood flow to the muscle, oxygenation of the blood. It tends to lower blood pressure, increase the oxygen level, and increase your endurance throughout the workout. So it's one of those, I guess I'll call it a key pump ingredient, but it's one of the most actually worthwhile ones. Next is glycerol. So some people have really bad reactions to glycerol, especially on an empty stomach. They'll end up in the bathroom within minutes of drinking it. So I definitely recommend not taking it on a completely empty stomach. But why would you work out on an empty stomach anyway? I happen to react very well to glycerol to the point where I've considered buying just regular glycerol powder to add more to it. I get really good pumps from it. Um, Not much more to say there. The only problem with glycerol is it tends to clump. So I don't care. Again, that kind of goes under taste. But moving on, NO3T. So this is another nitric oxide boosting type supplement. So really, what this is L-arginine, or some flavor thereof, L-arginine. So this generally gives you some reduced soreness, better recovery, and a lot of increased blood flow. I don't really notice any increased recovery. Studies show it, but I don't really notice that. I haven't exactly like controlled for it and done my own experiments, but The pumps I get from something with NO3T are really good. And then last, betaine. So betaine, there's been studies that have shown increase of power and a better body composition and fat burning effects. I don't really care so much about body composition and fat burning effects in a pre-workout. I'm more taking it for that increased power and the increased muscle hydration, which is probably why you see increased power, right? More hydration in the muscle and in the joints means better power output and longevity through the workout. And of course, I guess that makes sense that would help your recovery as well. Again, we're talking nutrient delivery. So for focus ingredients, my top three that I respond to are teacrine or theacrine or whatever you want to call it. I think teacrine is actually a brand of theacrine. But anyway, so this some studies have shown that it may increase some dopamine levels in the brain, but really I describe it as the feel good effect. I'm not a chemist here. I don't know how any of this actually interacts super well in your body, but I feel good on things with theacrine in them. I'm focusing much better, and it's really that simple. I get in the zone, right, as I described it before. Same thing with Kana. Kana is something that lowers stress. I'm somebody who suffers from anxiety, so it's nice to have a pre-workout that almost it puts you in like a trance-like state, I guess is how I would describe it. Very calm, very focused, and I just know what I'm there to do. I think it's been shown to possibly raise serotonin in the brain. And last but not least, alpha GPC. So this increases a chemical called acetylcholine. Again, I'm not a chemist, but allegedly this is supposed to increase memory and focus in the brain. So again, it's a focus ingredient, but for me, I notice endurance effects and a general focus in the zone, whatever. So I'm not asking for all three of these, but I think these are three that I respond to very well and that you generally see out on the market somewhere in some combination. But I think these are at least one of these three would be a worthwhile ingredient. Here we go, cost. So let me explain. Cost is number three, not because I'm concerned with the budget, not because I want to pay dirt cheap prices, but because you generally get what you pay for with pre-workouts. So you'll see a lot of products on sale, or buy one get one, or just in general, like less than $1 per serving, like $20 for 30 servings, and it's got a 8-gram scoop size, and it's basically you're buying caffeine. You're overspending for caffeine at that. I would hope that this would end somewhere between $1.50 to $2 per serving. Now again, that's gonna change depending on whether the serving size is 1 scoop or 2 scoops. A lot of pre-workouts say serving size is 2 scoops, but 1 scoop is like probably enough for most people. So generally, I think in order to balance affordability and actually costing enough to be efficacious to most people, it would probably end up between $1.50 to $2 a serving. If there's a ton of ingredients in it, it might even be north of $2 a serving, in which case it's tough to buy. You understand that, like, hey, I'm getting a lot more out of this. That's great, but it's tough to justify north of $2 a serving for most people, at least. I would still probably buy it. If it's $2 a serving and it really hits all the items on my wish list, let's give it a shot. But anyway, number 4, stimulants. So you got to have caffeine in it. You can make separate stim and non-stim products. A lot of companies do it, but caffeine's the biggest and the baddest, and they've been around forever. It's highly studied up there with creatine. It's a big performance improver. Everyone knows it. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. It's tremendous. But I'd like to see like maybe 175 to 200 milligrams per serving. And again, this is going to depend on how many scoops a serving is. But like 150 milligrams of caffeine per scoop would probably be pretty solid, maybe like 125. Dicaffeine malate is another thing you can consider, which is like a long-acting caffeine. So you could actually do a lower caffeine pre-workout, like 100 milligrams per serving, and then include dicaffeine malate, which is going to prevent that crash later on and give you sustained energy rather than just a big oomph for 45 minutes and then a crash. Now, for me, dicaffeine malate, I enjoy it, but I can't take that on it's not an everyday pre-workout ingredient because I work out after work, and I will never fall asleep with a long-acting caffeine. So next, green tea extract. This is something that I got like a bit of stim out of, and then a lot of added focus on top of that. So it tended to stack well with a little bit of caffeine and some of those other focus ingredients. It's also known for fat burning effects, body composition. That's not really the hope here. I don't really care about that in a pre workout. I don't think anybody should. That's not why you should be taking a pre workout. Um, but it can also help reduce oxidative stress in the body, of which you're probably going to have a lot if you're really into the gym, bodybuilding, and whatever. Last but not least, taurine. So taurine has been around for forever, since Monster Energy drink launched in like the early 2000s, and I would walk down the street to the gas station and get some 300 calorie can of whoop ass. Um, so taurine tends to increase your work capacity. It again decreases some of that oxidative stress. It's generally a stimulant, and it some studies show that it reduces some muscle damage. Eh, we'll see if that's actually true, but in general, for the stimulant effect, it's another one that's less crashy, I'll say. And then moving on to last, taste. So most of us are just going to be dry scooping this, lining up lines in the parking lot on the hood of your car, or slamming a 12-ounce, beverage in the gym parking lot anyway. Do you really care about taste? This is not something you're going to be sipping. This is not something you're going to break out with a nice bottle of whiskey and serve to guests with a charcuterie board and whatever else. You're not going to be entertaining, being like, hey, so I got this pre-workout here and it's gourmet. No one gives a flying crap. All right, so taste is last here, as long as it is tolerable. That's all I really care about. I have consumed, and still own unflavored pre-workouts where I would either just dry scoop it, or maybe just give it a squirt of like Mio or whatever, and then slam it. Who cares? I'd rather more money be spent on the ingredients than the flavor. So if it's a $2 a serving pre-workout, and I could have a $2.20 serving per serving pre-workout that tastes better, I'd take the cheaper one. Or I'd take the more expensive one that still tastes like the cheaper one, but with more better ingredients. Does that make sense? Hope you're following me here. So again, taste is going to be last here. Don't care about the taste. Put all the money into the ingredients, and that's really it. So my final thoughts. A note on scoop size. I kind of touched on this earlier, but when it comes to scoop sizing, I'd love to see a system where you have customizable servings: one scoop, two scoop. And the reason I say 1 to 2 rather than like a half or one is because something that's a half or one, generally that scoop size is so small that there's not going to be efficacious dosages of ingredients in it to begin with. Unless you're literally giving me like a protein scoop, like a 30-gram scoop, in which case, sure, half a scoop is probably fine. But I'd really like to see around like 14 to 20 grams per serving or per scoop or whatever for this pre-workout, and really that would indicate that it actually has enough of the meaningful ingredients in it to be worthwhile. Other ingredients that I'd like to see, or I wouldn't mind seeing, are sodium and potassium, which obviously electrolytes are key in pump, key in muscle hydration. Coconut water powder is another one, and then creatine. So I add my own creatine generally. I buy it separate, so I don't really care that much. But for people who want an all-in-one, throw it in there, right? Maybe that'll put you towards that 20 gram per scoop range if you have a full serving of like 5 grams of creatine. Some ingredients to avoid, in my opinion, don't kill me. Beta alanine. I don't like the tingles. It doesn't actually do anything. A lot of studies have shown that it's like the amount of performance increase you get is ridiculously small, and you'd have to take a ridiculously high amount of beta alanine in order to even get those, at which point you're just itchy and tingly and just no thank you. Again, I'm a big fan of the focus, a big fan of getting in the zone. That sort of thing just takes me right out of it real quick, and I just want to go home. I just want it to end. On the same token as that is niacin. So a lot of people have negative reactions to niacin. I'm one of them. I get flushed, I get itchy, I get tingly, and I start to get dizzy, and it's pretty awful. So I would stay away from niacin. For the amount of vasodilation that it supposedly gives you. There's better ingredients out there like L-arginine, in my opinion, or L-citrulline, in my opinion. Um, Test boosters. So some pre-workouts now actually will like add in like fenugreek or boron or other like common test boosting ingredients. And really, this is just silly marketing. Don't fall for this crap. Do not put this in your pre-workout, Greg, please. Even if you put one of these in there and try to like market it as a test booster pre-workout and whatever, there's almost no chance that you get an efficacious dose of one of these test boosters crammed into your pre-workout in a convenient scoop size and good flavoring and whatever. Like there's no real chance. And for the most part, these things are just garbage anyway. They're like niche products. So don't fall for the marketing. Don't put that stuff in there. Lastly, I just want to give a quick comparison. Greg, go the direction of your merch line, your tank tops. Your tank tops are 90% polyester, an actual decent material. They stretch, they breathe, and they won't shrink. They won't fall apart after you wash them 10 times. They're not like these 100% cotton junk whatever that I tend to buy off Amazon for $6 to $10 each. That last generally 5 to 6 months, and then I just throw them out. Make something like that. That tank top is expensive. It's like a $40 tank top, but you know it's gonna last you probably 4 times as long as your $8 tank top off Amazon. So all of a sudden, like you're starting to like regain your investment, right? And you're supporting someone, blah blah blah. Sure, you can go that route, but go the route of a quality product. Maybe not necessarily a designer product, but make sure it's a quality product that you're gonna stamp your name on. You're not just pushing snake oil like V-Shred or some crap. Compare it to something more like Gorilla Mind products or Granite supplements or Hostile supplements is another really good pre-workout. Both of theirs are really really good. I'm hoping for something like that, and if it is, Greg, you got my word. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to try it. I'll review it, and I hope I love it, and I hope I am addicted to it. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about what you think will be in Coach Greg's pre-workout and what supplements you think are going to be in his upcoming line. Other than that, I will talk to you guys soon.